Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you? Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm sounding a little bit stuffed up and bunged up because I've literally today just tested negative from COVID. So
Oh, wow. You
last
feeling
week
good? You feeling okay?
I'm feeling absolutely fine now. I was one of those people who like didn't get it for the 2 years, and I only got it obviously for the first time last week. And I was going around telling everyone, "Oh, I haven't got it yet. I've got a really strong immune system," and it's hit me. So yeah, I'm still a little bit I'm coughing a little bit still and feel like I've kind of got a cold now. But yeah, just to excuse the sound of my
I'm,
voice.
I'm glad you're recovering. That's good news. But thank you for doing this today. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know we've been trying to set this up for a while, so appreciate you doing this. Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about your sort of backstory, really, the journey that you've been on, some of the new music you've been putting out, which is awesome, by the way. Absolutely loving it. Um, so yeah, I suppose first of all, if you could sort of give us a little bit of background information and sort of tell us about your journey into music, where the inspiration came from, because I know your dad was quite a big inspiration, wasn't he, musically? So
Yeah, so I mean, ever since I was tiny, I always knew I loved singing and loved performing. And when I was little, I was always writing songs and singing. And when I was 4, my parents bought me a tennis racket because I live in Wimbledon, everyone plays tennis. And my dad did some sports coaching, so he was like, "She's gonna be a tennis player." Anyway, the minute I got it, I ripped it out the package, turned it round. I was like, "Yes, I've got a guitar. I love it." And I started like pretending to play it and sing Sound of Music songs because at that stage of my life, I was obsessed with the sound of music. And I think from that moment onwards, my parents kind of realized, oh, maybe she's not going to be a sportswoman, and they kind of realized how much I love music. And then from there, it kind of just carried on going. I went to my primary school was really supportive creatively. There was always loads of choirs and little concerts going on and talent shows, and I was always getting involved in that. And then when I went through to secondary school, I got a music and drama scholarship for my first school. And then after that, I went to 2 sort of arts orientated schools and sixth forms. So I've kind of been really encouraged by the environment I've been around just to play music. And at school, I really struggled because I'm quite dyslexic. So having an outlet where I was able to be creative and actually kind of be good at something as well. I wasn't super academic, so I really struggled with the exams and everything. So having something that I could sort of excel in, and that I loved and I could pour my overly emotional heart out into, was just really amazing and kind of made me fall in love with it more. And so I started playing festivals and gigs, and when I was about 12, and I would email out to any promoter, or like someone who ran a pub or a restaurant or anywhere near me, basically just begging anyone to let me play at any time, to do whatever, like as long as I could play. That was the goal. And so I ended up getting on a couple of festivals from doing that, and that really helped kind of get the ball rolling, I guess, in building that initial fan base. Alongside, I was posting covers on Instagram weekly, and it kind of just progressed from there. And I met my management when I was 14, and I was doing a couple of sessions before that just off my own back, but they really helped me get into studios, see how it's done with professionals. And co-writing was a big thing. Like at first I was like, there's no way I'm co-writing. I want to be my own artist. I want all my song, not in a sort of like stuck up way, but in a just, this was such a vulnerable thing to be writing about my feelings, then to like share that with someone else. At the time I was like, that's weird, why would I do that? But obviously I'm so glad I did, and it's now like one of my favorite aspects of the process of creating music is co-writing. And that really helped me to kind of grow and just improve as a songwriter and a singer in general. And I guess then that kind of leads me to where I am now, in terms of, obviously I've been writing for quite a long time, hopefully improved quite a bit since I started. And yeah, when the lockdown hit, I felt really lucky that I got to use the time to, I guess, find myself and find my sound, and I was able to experiment. And I actually went back to listening to a lot of the music I listened to, or that was played around the house when I was younger, like Fleetwood Mac and Joni Mitchell, which I always knew I kind of loved. But when I was a bit younger, I was more in the headspace of, oh, do I do just like purely pop music, like have it more electronic sounding, da da da. But actually over the lockdown, I kind of really tapped back into my country folk roots and realized how much of that I love and wanted to sort of display into my music. Sorry, I kind of went off on a bit of a
that's exactly what we needed. So tell us a little bit about signing a recording deal with the Orchard and a publishing deal with Stellar Songs. I mean, these things are huge milestones for someone at such a young age. So tell us how those came about, how those guys got in touch with you, how they found you.
Yeah, so that was all happening kind of 2021. We were starting to think about, possibly releasing music and what that was going to look like, whether you wanted to do it independently or with a major, all these different things that come up and these conversations you have to have. And in the end, we ended up putting on like a little show. And this was kind of just coming out of another lockdown. I remember I hadn't played live to anyone in like a year, and I was playing with my band. I think it was our first time we played to anyone as well. So it was a real sort of scary moment to suddenly be playing music to a load of experienced music, people. But when I met Stella and the Orchard both at this little showcase, it just immediately we kind of immediately clicked, and I could tell that they really understood what the vision that I had, and they could hear the sound of the music and where it could go, and we were just really on a similar wavelength. And I think then over the course of the next kind of 6 months, we kept in contact. I was getting booked into sessions, having just loads of conversations with them, and it just ended up feeling really natural and happening really naturally. And I think I'm super lucky to have people who understand me and the music I want to create, and they're really excited about that, and are down to let me take all the creative control and just do what I do, and and trust that and see the vision for it. So it's been a really nice process in kind of signing with them and starting to work with them, and it's felt very natural going from when I first met them to actually signing. We were kind of working alongside each other for a little bit, so it's been really good and I feel very lucky.
And you've got music out now. I mean, the debut single, Still the Same, came out not too long ago. I mean, people say you only get one chance to make a first impression, so that's like a huge step to be able to release a debut single. What did you sort of want to say with that song, and what did you want to establish about yourself as an artist?
Yeah, so I was really, really nervous with the first release. It had been felt like such a long time coming, and everyone was always laughing at me when I was saying that, because they're like, you're only 18, what are you talking about? But because I've been working on these songs for so long, and I mean, Still the Same was written in 2020. I think it was the second song I did on the EP, and there wasn't really too much discussion, to be honest, about which one came out first. We kind of just, I remember, recorded the song, and we were listening to the songs that we wanted on the EP, and we're kind of discussing them, and that for everyone was just like, this one feels like the right one to be put out first. I think because I love writing from perspectives of other people, and while I also write a lot from personal experience, I take a lot of inspiration from photos and books and films, and use my imagination to kind of write these other stories. And with Still the Same, this was a totally imagined situation, but also something that I could really relate to on a personal level. And I loved how you could tell the story of everything changing, but not really feeling like you're changing, or everything around staying the same. And I think in the phase of life that we were all at, with the lockdowns and coming in and out, and everyone's doing different things, everyone's rediscovering themselves, it just felt like the right song to put out in terms of how I was feeling at the time and how other people could connect to it. And I think people did connect to it in that way. And I love having songs that have a storyline and a clear meaning, but also the space for people to interpret them in the way they want to, and sort of take that on. And I guess that gives the song a whole nother life as well. But yeah, so in deciding whether that was the first one to come out, it felt quite natural that we wanted that one first.
Yeah, and you followed it up with Childish Games, which you released just last week, wasn't it? So tell us about recording that one, the inspiration behind that one, and also the music video as well, because I was like, it's got some huge numbers already, like like just over a week. So tell us about that and that whole
Yeah,
process.
so Childish Games, this was the first song that I wrote with the EP for the EP, and the first song I co-wrote with Jonathan Byrd as well. So I remember going in on the day and kind of, you know, whenever you start working with someone new, especially at that time 2 years ago, I felt quite nervous, and you don't know what to expect, how you're going to get on, and instantly we sort of just clicked creatively, lyrically, as people. And it just happened really naturally. At the time, I was dealing with some friendship issues, as every 16-year-old is, and so the song kind of started out using that as inspiration, feeling like knowing that you're growing apart from a friend, and that whilst you're the same age and you're kind of supposedly doing all the same things in life, you're at totally different phases of life in where your head's at. And I've always felt like a bit of an old soul. Some of my friends are, you're a bit of a grandma, but I've always kind of connected with people who are a bit older than me, and just, yeah, I guess been a bit of an old soul. So this song also expresses kind of the struggles of going from teenager to adult, which I think is such a hard transition period, and especially hard during the pandemic, when there was no certainty in life and you couldn't even go to school and blah blah blah. So that was a really personal song to me. And I have to say, I don't really have favorites, but that is definitely one that throughout the whole time I'm like, yeah, this is a favorite. But the day we wrote it, when I left the studio after listening to it, I just listened to it on repeat the whole 45-minute journey home. And I think that shows the sign of it hopefully being a good song, or at least me loving it. But the influences and sort of inspiration for Childish Games was definitely the sort of 70s folk, sort of Fleetwood Mac sounds to it. And I think that really shows in the video as well, this aspect of drawing from the 70s. I've always been kind of very influenced by 70s music and fashion, and just sort of the free-spirited nature of the era. Obviously there are a lot of issues that come out of that era as well, so not to glamorize any of that, but I think for me the sort of free-spirited aspect and all the things that were brought up with that, I just really love. And I wanted to sort of encapsulate that in the video a bit with the fashion, and I wanted to have a really quirky looking video. I took a lot of inspiration from sort of 70s Gucci adverts and Vogue videos, and making it accessible but also slightly creative and quirky, because I'm quite a creative person. I'm normally wandering around in really impractical vintage outfits, so I was like, I want to get that aspect of it as well. And we had just the most amazing team, and the director Melody, from the first meeting that we had about discussing what we wanted to do with the video, I'd kind of come with all my mood boards, and she was adding on to it, and instantly I was saying to my management, like, this is it, like, she's got the vision, this is going to be so cool. And it ended up being exactly kind of what I dreamed the video to look like. So I'm really happy that everyone else is seeing that vision come to life and loving it as well. And I think it kind of tells the story of the song in a slightly funny, sarcastic, different way, which I really like as well.
That's awesome. And you mentioned earlier on about working with Jonathan Cornby, who's obviously worked with the likes of Lewis Capaldi, Tom Walker, all these amazing artists. What sort of, or how valuable is his experience both as a producer and a writer when you're working with him?
Yeah, I mean, I feel really lucky to have been able to go in with Jonathan and kind of create the creative relationship that we have when writing and making music. And I think having someone who has so much experience and is just so good at what they do is amazing as a young artist to go in. And he's taking elements of all types of music and somehow making it alongside me, making it sound like me. And
Mm.
and especially when I first started working with him, I was quite underconfident as a writer, and I was doing a lot, but it was more like my confidence levels. I wasn't sure, like, oh, am I doing it right? Is this the right sound? And he's really helped to sort of develop that. And now when we're in the studio, the sound forms really naturally. I feel like I can explain. Sorry, because I'm dyslexic, all my words get jumbled up. So often I'll like lose my train of thought, but I also find it hard to kind of explain how I want things to sound, or I'll say things and people are like, I've honestly no clue what you're talking about. But that's never been an issue with me and Jonathan, which is good. And we've kind of been on the same wavelength, and that's really helped to help me feel like my creativity is coming out, but also help push me. I think when you're learning, having someone who is sort of making you level up every time you go in and push to be the best writer you can be, the best guitar player you can be, singer, all these different things, is so valuable, and something that has been so helpful in my journey of so far.
So, in terms of new music, what's the plan for you now? You've got a couple of songs out there. Are you working towards a full album release, an EP, or are you just going to sort of keep drip feeding us singles?
Yeah, so I've got an EP planned for the end of the summer, the EP will be coming out at the end of the summer, which is really exciting. It feels like a long time I've been waiting to have like a body of work that feels like me and sounds authentic, and just personal. And so I'm really excited to get that out. Obviously we've got singles coming in between that. Yeah, so it's all very exciting, and just new music is coming soon. Yeah.
Exciting times. And where can we come and see you live as well? Have you got any festivals planned over summer? Live shows of your own?
I
What's on
had
the
quite a
agenda?
few live shows last month actually. The next few months we're kind of, if you go on my social media, it will all get posted about there, because often there's a lot of last minute shows that I get the chance to do. But I'm definitely playing the Above 110 festival. Oh no, maybe it's 110 Above festival on in August, which is going to be really fun. So yeah, I'm looking
Okay.
forward to that.
Nice one. Well, Maya, thank you so much for doing this. As I say, I really appreciate you taking the time. And yeah,
Thank
best of luck with all the new music. Look forward to hearing it.
you so much. Nice to meet you.